All right, if you are like me, there's some certain myths that you have maybe held on to or heard about that might or might not be true. Like, for instance, if you shave your hair, it will grow back thicker and darker. We know that's not the case because look at this guy. All right, number two, I've heard this since I was a kid. I don't even know if this is true, but you're supposed to wait at least an hour after you eat to go swimming. I don't know, maybe it gives you a cramp and then you automatically drown and die. Who knows? And number three, I know this is real. Bigfoot is real. I live in North Georgia. Bigfoot's real, trust me. And number four, this myth has been debunked because it is true that Dollar General is the best place to shop in North Georgia.
Myth busted.
Hey everybody, my name is Tim Gibson and my channel is all about North Georgia real estate. If you have not subscribed, please do so. And also, if you are considering moving to North Georgia or if you're thinking about listing your home in North Georgia, please reach out. My contact info is right here on the screen. All right, so for the rest of this video, what we want to do is cover some real estate myths and figure out if these are real or if there's something that we can debunk. All right, if this video goes well and you guys like it, maybe we'll do another couple of videos on real estate myths, but we picked three that are kind of common and popular that people talk about. All right, so first on the list, you should wait until the spring to buy or sell real estate. This is a very common myth and is something that I've heard a lot in my career in real estate. The public, buyers and sellers that I talk to usually say, well, maybe I'll just wait till the springtime. It's just something that you hear a lot towards the end of the year, and it's probably at the top of my mind because we're shooting this in November of 2024. And I thought, hey, let's see if this is a myth or if the numbers actually back this up and this is true. So what we did is we pulled some stats from Cumming, Georgia, Forsyth County. That's where my main office is located. And it's a very populated area, a very popular place to live. So we pulled numbers from January and April of 2024 to see if we could debunk the myth and see if you actually should wait to the spring to either list your house or buy a house. So hopefully this one goes a little bit better than the if you shave your head, your hair will grow back a little darker and thicker, because we know that didn't work. All right, so what we're gonna do is, like I mentioned, we are focusing on Cumming, Georgia, Forsyth County, popular place to live, right where my main office is located. We're gonna look at January versus April. Should you wait to list or buy a house? January 2024, first thing I wanna note is new listings. New listings are going to indicate an increase in inventory. January of 2024, new listings, you had 88 new listings in Cumming, Georgia. And in April, you had 115 new listings hit the market. So what does that mean? It means you got a lot more competition if you are a seller, but if you're a buyer, that means that you have a lot more options to choose from. So if you're a seller, maybe you want to have less competition, maybe you want to stand out among the rest and you put your house up in January. Okay, so next I'm going to focus on days on market until sale. This is a really important metric because the longer your house on the sits, typically the less you're going to get for your house. So what we're seeing in January of 2024, you had 28 days on market. And in April, you've got 17 days on market. So houses were selling 11 days quicker in April as opposed to January of this year. Another thing I want to mention is median sales price. What was the median sales price in January 2024? $571,000, just over that. And in April, good night, this is crazy, $655,655. That's a massive increase. All right, so next on the list, we're going to talk about percentage of list price received. Obviously, if you're getting 100% of list price, you list your house for 500 grand, you sell it for 500 grand, you got 100% of list. All right, so in January of 2024, homeowners in Forsyth County were getting just about 98% of list price. So just to run with the same example of the $500,000 house that I gave you, in January, if you were to list your house and you got 97.9% of list price, you would have sold your house for $489,500. All right, so let's go to April. What does that look like in April? So as you can see, as a seller, you're getting 100.5% of list price in Forsyth County. Let's run those numbers and see what that looks like. Okay, if we go to April 2024 and we're looking at percentage of list price received, as you can see right here, we're looking at 100.5% of list price. What does that mean? That means that if you were to list your house for $500,000 like we were talking about in the same example, you'd be getting $502,500 for your house. All right, so here's the conclusion. At least if you're a seller, you would have made more money and you would have spent less time with your house on the market if you wait until the spring. If you're a buyer, it looks like you might have got a better deal in the wintertime because houses were going at like 98% of list price and houses were sitting on the market a little bit longer. So is the myth busted? If you're a buyer, sounds like you should be buying a house in the wintertime. If you're a seller, you may want to consider waiting until the spring because it looks like you're going to make more money. You're going to spend less time with your house on the market. Here is the second myth that I want to cover, and this is kind of a common myth as well. And can homeowners save more money if they sell their house for sale by owner? Great thing about living in the US is you can do whatever you want. If you want to sell your own house and you want to price it however you want, that's your choice. If you want to hire someone to help you do that, you can do that as well. And there's also different types of brokers, different types of agents that can help you do that. Good thing is, as the homeowner, you get to choose. But one thing I wanted to mention, and this is a stat from the National Association of Realtors. According to their statistics, and they do a pretty good job of keeping a record of all the home sales in the US. And it says in 2024, about 6% of home sales were accounted for for sale by owners. So according to the National Association of Realtors, the typical for sale by owner that sold in 2024 sold for $380,000. And compared to agent-assisted sales generated on average $435,000. So what does that mean? That means if you are selling your house for sale by owner, you could expect to sell your house for somewhere around 13% less. One thing to note, obviously, is that not all agents are created equal. So just picking an agent out of a hat or off the internet may or not generate that 13% more. To realize that 13% gain and the difference between selling your house by owner or with an agent, I think comes with a good strategy for you as the seller. Number one, just like any other contractor or any other professional that you hire, I would recommend interviewing at least 3 of them so that you can get a good feel for what each agent is about. Check their statistics, see how they are perceived in the community, see what their record is of sales, how long does it take them to sell a house, do they sell close for the list price. Do your research and you pick the best agent for you if you feel like you want to list with an agent. Okay, so third on the list is an interesting one. I come across this quite a bit, and I think a lot of listing agents do as well. So sometimes when I talk to sellers and we're talking about list price and we're talking about listing their house, sometimes I hear sellers say, well, you know what? I want to list my house high so that I've got some room to negotiate. And in theory, that does sound like a good thought. It sounds like a good strategy, but here's why that could be a challenge for you as a seller. So the main thing that buyers are considering whenever they're thinking about buying a new home is substitution. I know that's probably not what you expected me to say, but when you have a budget of, let's just call it $500,000, and you're a buyer and you want to live in a specific area, what you're doing is evaluating your options. What can I get for my money? All right, so let's take that $500,000 example. So let's say a buyer is looking around, they've defined their area, they've defined what they want in a house. Their budget is $500,000. They're ready to start looking, they've got their agent, and they are looking at houses in the area. So let's say your house as a seller is priced at $500,000, but it's more closely compared to houses that are about $450,000. Let's say maybe it's got a smaller lot, or maybe it's outdated and needs some upgrades. Maybe the location isn't quite as good as some of those $500,000 houses. Maybe the neighborhood isn't quite as good. So if a buyer looks at your house and they go, oh, you know what? This is $500,000. Let's go take a look at this. And then they're comparing it to other houses that seem to be better across the board. Which one do you think they would choose? So I think what's counterintuitive to sellers sometimes is that you get to set the price for your house as the seller, and you say, you know what, this is what I want for my house, and someone's going to pay it, and if they don't pay it, then they don't understand. But in reality, the pool of buyers who are looking for a house in your market at that price get to determine the market. So really, a house, just like any other item, a car, anything that you purchase on a daily basis, it's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So what happens if you list your house too high? It sits on the market, and then it sits even more, and then you drop the price, and then you're trying to chase the market, And then people start asking, after it's been sitting on the market a long time, especially compared to other homes, is what's wrong with this house? When in reality, there may not be anything wrong with your house at all. It's just that it's overpriced. So when you're thinking about listing your house, think about pricing it right with the market so that your house spends less time on the market and it is competitive compared to other houses that are in the area. The last thing you want is to chase the market, price it too high, keep reducing the price to find the market, and then ultimately you end up losing money that way. All right, what did you think about this video? Did you think we debunked some of your real estate myths? And also, are there some other myths that you want to see covered in the future, maybe on a future video? If so, leave it in the comments. As always, if you're thinking about moving to North Georgia, or if you're interested in listing your home in North Georgia, please reach out. My contact info is right on the screen, and we'll see you on the next video.